Here he comes, Pete Middleton, right up the back, and oh, there you go.
Right, and away they go. One guy had a bad start, and who's the bait at the break there? That is right, put his right to break clean. And that is 16-year-old rider who's selected rider. That's Thorn EMI in second place. So we've got Andy Ruffell, we've got Thorn EMI, we've got bike number 6, and there's a rider down at 22. Matthew Kimball is finding it difficult into the back there. He's going to try and get up to his team. Mate, Andy Ruffell, but Andy's showing these boys his as he goes away there. Now just look at that lead he's got, and in second place is Thor EMI. So it's Thor EMI in second position, and then it's Peter Costello. He's got the first spot. Bike number 15 in the left number 5. At 22, Matthew Kimball, he's going to make a break in there now. He's going to down there. He's going to get up in the back of the wall, or is he going to cruise through his motor now? But Andy Ruffell's going to take off.
I travel quite a lot. I reckon this year I've done about 100,000 miles, quite a few miles, all over Britain, all over Europe, quite a few places, There's a lot of tension in when you're racing at big events in another country. So I don't know really. I think I do prefer racing at home. Because you've got a home crowd, and you know, when I'm racing at home it's for the number 1 plate, so you've got to go for it. This is the point where it all begins, the magic of bicycle motocross. And as a BMXer, this spot marks the beginning of a pretty solitary journey. It starts with the first time you throw yourself out of that start gate, and it ends in your own personal achievement. Looking out onto a track like this, it's hard to describe the tension and the excitement I experience in every berm, jump and tabletop. BMX is my life and the sport I love. This video is dedicated to all of you who feel the same way as I do. So, who says man needs wings to fly? BMX started in America, and you may be surprised to know that it was about 13 years ago, which is probably before some of you were born. But it's only been in the last 5 years that BMX has captured the imagination of sports enthusiasts all over the world. I'll never forget the excitement of seeing over 2,000 riders turn up for a big event in the States. From 4-year-old toughies to 45-year-old cruiser class racers, all wearing their colourful gear and raring to go. When you see a turnout like that, it makes you realise how big the sport actually is.
BMX is the sport that unites people of all ages and all walks of life. Riders, spectators, officials, all are drawn to the sport for the excitement, challenge and sheer fun of it. It's a sport that encourages individual initiative and family involvement. And on race day, all this comes together to create an atmosphere that's colourful, electric and second to none.
Here I am, But past, fantastic.
BMX is a disciplined sport that's run to the rules laid down by associations affiliated to the highest levels of national sport administration.
Can everyone hear? Can you hear the back thing? Okay, you guys. Riders may be disqualified for the following reasons, and that is jumping the gate or backing off. Once your front wheel is against that gate,
At every race meeting, you'll find officials and organizers that unselfishly give their time to promote the safe development of BMX without inhibiting its free-flowing spirit.
please tell your parents, we do not have any parents interfering with racing. If you have an objection, you put it in writing and we will handle it. Now listen guys, I'm warning you. Any swearing, bad behavior towards anybody here today will lead to immediate disqualification. Show good sportsmanship and enjoy yourself.
The magic of BMX comes from youngsters of all backgrounds, who share the same feelings and goals and who compete under the same set of rules. By participating, they become better cyclists with improved riding ability and safety awareness. And perhaps more importantly, they become better people because they learn about team spirit, sportsmanship, and healthy competition. But it's here, at the start gate, where BMX really comes into its own. From this point on, rider and bike are alone. To beat the rest of the pack, you've got to beat the butterflies in your stomach. Draw on all your skills and marshal those powerful inner strengths as well. In BMX, you can take yourself to the limits and have a hell of a lot of fun doing it.
Are you comfortable?
Yes.
There are 8 riders in a race, or moto. Each rider races 3 motos to gain points, which will put him through to the quarterfinals, semi-finals and finals. Of course, the whole idea is to be the first guy over the finish line.
None other than bike number 1, Andy Ruffell, doing a form of sorts. So we'll just go through the riders here. First on my motor sheet is bike number 22, that's Matthew Kimball, a Mongoose team factory rider. Andy Ruffell is also bike number 1, a Mongoose team factory rider. We have a green flag, and on with the race.
Riders ready, Bill, ready, go!
Right, I got it, come out, shot down. That's going to be Matthew Kimball, and here's Troy Irving down. What a pity, Troy Irving's down. And that is Matthew Kimball and Andy Ruffell. Matthew Kimball, the 2 Mongoose team riders. The 2 Mongoose team riders are going pretty well, and Ruffell's at a slider, and Matthew Kimball right up behind him. And this is going to be neat riding. Kimball takes that one. Kimball's first Kimball out on the outside of the track. Kimball's going to go up water in that fair, but he's going to build it. He's going to build past Ruffell. No, he lost his bill. What a pity. He came right up behind Ruffell, but Andy Ruffell still got it. He's dominating this race. He's a cool rider, this Andy Ruffell. Up at the tabletop together, Matthew Kimball, Mongoose riders, dressed in red and white, and there they go. Ruffell's with his foot down, closing the door. There he comes up now, the wind's blowing like that and helping along. Give him a man, that's Andy Ruffell, that's Matthew Kimball, and then it's Peter Costello who's going to take 3rd place.
The question I'm most often asked is, which bike should I choose? Well, that depends on a lot of things. First, you have to ask yourself what your goals in BMX are. Do you want to become a hotshot racer? A freestyle king? Or do you want an all-purpose bike that not only looks great, but rides great as well? Next, you have to ask yourself, or your dad, how much money you have to spend on your BMX bike. As a rule, the more seriously you take the sport, the more expensive your bike has to be. To the untrained eye, BMX bikes look pretty much alike. Yet a real top-line racer can cost up to 4 times as much as a lookalike. Why? Let's go to the workshop and have a closer look. In BMX, cost is directly related to weight. The lighter the bike, the more expensive it is. A lighter bike helps you go faster and hopefully win more races. The secret is in the material, construction methods and components used. Ace bikes use thin-walled, top-quality tubing like chrome moly, which is lighter yet stronger than the heavy-gauge steel used on cheaper models. Light alloys are also used to construct components like wheel rims, chain wheel sets and sealed bearing hubs. This gives them strength and durability and leaves you with less weight to lug about. Now take a look at the welding, another area that separates the racers from the rest. This mongoose is heliarc welded, which is about the best way to do it. Notice that there's plenty of overlap at the seams, a sign of maximum strength and that this scoop can really take it.
In BMX, you don't have to worry about the size of your bike, because the handlebars and seats are adjustable. As you grow into your standard, you simply adjust their heights to suit you. And it must be stressed that you don't have to rush out and buy the top of the range bike. Only make sure it's track certified and that you buy it from a recognized, reputable dealer. Maintaining your bike is very important. You can't win a race on a bike that's not fit for racing. Besides, you probably owe it to somebody to look after your bike. It is, after all, a very expensive piece of machinery.
Hello, George. Where have you been? How's it going? All right? It's okay, George. I've already got some dust caps. But if you like, you can be a mechanic. That won't fit you. It's the wrong size.
The good news is that you only need to get a very basic toolkit. So a chain link extractor, headset, crank, and cone spanners and brake adjusting tool are all you need to get by.
Come on, George, out the way. I need this spanner.
The first thing we are going to have a look at is the wheel bearing adjustment. If your wheel has some side play or feels loose or slack, your cones need adjusting.
Place a spanner on each one of the cone nuts. Then turn one of the cone nuts in a clockwise direction until the play is taken up and the wheel spins freely. If your wheel isn't running freely, then check to make sure the brake blocks aren't rubbing against the rim. If your bottom bracket needs adjusting, put a bottom bracket spanner on the first lock nut, turn it in an anti-clockwise direction until the play is taken up. Then, with the second lock nut, turn it also in an anti-clockwise direction, put on the spanner, then tighten it up. Then, when it's tight, make sure it spins freely. Hello, George. Do you know you've got a bike named after you? Okay, I've got some work to do. Go on, go for it. If your headset needs adjusting, you need 2 cone spanners. First, hand tighten the first lock nut. When it's pretty tight, bring down the second lock nut. Check for adjustment. If there's no side play, then put 1 cone spanner on the bottom lock nut, 1 cone spanner on the top lock nut. Then tighten them both opposite ways so they lock onto each other. Now we've finished the check work, let's see the sort of punishment a BMX bike can take. By making sure your bike can safely take all the punishment you give it, you're also looking after your own safety. There may well be many of you who aren't giving the sport everything you've got because you're scared of getting hurt. And that's really nothing to be ashamed of. Fear is natural and we all feel it at one time or another. If your bike's properly set up and you're wearing the right protective gear, then you're ready for anything. Make sure you have 3 pads, 1 on the crossbar, 1 on the stem, and 1 on your frame tube. Your axles must not stick out more than 7 millimeters, or 1/4 of an inch. Also make sure that all your nuts and bolts are tightened. The last thing you want is to wipe out because something's come adrift. If you're wearing the right protective gear, you'll feel a lot more secure. A full face helmet is safer than an open face, but if you do wear an open face, then use a face mask as well. I find it beneficial to use gloves, elbow pads and knee pads, because these protect my most vulnerable areas.
What school are you at?
If you're going to ride your BMX on the street, treat it like a street bike. That means riding with responsibility and saving the freestyling for where it belongs. Hello.
Hello, Andy.
Take it easy and try and stay off the road if you can. Good luck.
Bye.
You're more likely to seriously hurt yourself on the road than on a racetrack. If I was to ask you the most important component on your BMX bike, you'd probably say the wheels. Others would say the frame. I'd say it was your body. When you're riding your BMX bike, you're the engine, and the fitter you are, the faster that engine's going to go. If you really want to be top in BMX, you should work out a simple training program. A useful tip is to jog regularly. Jogging loosens up the muscles in your legs and chest and generally gets you into good shape. A regular exercise program will help to build up your arms and your upper body, because in BMX they work as hard as your legs. It's also a good idea to ride a 10-speed bike, because this keeps you very supple and builds stamina. For this type of training to have any effect on your racing ability, you've got to keep at it. But I assure you, it's worth it. You don't want to come in second in the 30-plus cruiser class. After all, all's fair in love and BMX. A very important part of your routine is a balanced diet. Make sure you get plenty of vitamins, iron and protein. Stay away from junk foods, because there's no point in keeping your bike race tuned if you treat your body like a dustbin. I find a good, light breakfast really helps on race day.
Your bike's prepared and you're prepared. But it's race technique that'll give you the winning edge.
Without a doubt, the most important part of a BMX race is the start. If you're out of the gate in front of the other 7 riders, you're going to hit that first turn first. If you're in front of the pack, then you dictate where the rest of the riders go. There are 2 ways to get out the start gate. A 1-pedal start and a 2-pedal start. Here we're doing a 1-pedal start. Pedal positioning is very important. When you're on the gate, put your pedals level, and as a rough guide, bring it 2 clicks with the freewheel up. Put your foot on, with your other foot, place it back as far as you can, as long as it's comfortable, and you can get a nice movement as you're going out the gate. Just as the starter lets the gate go, thrust all your weight out and regain your pedals as fast as you can and get pedaling.
Rise ready, pedals ready, go!
For a 2-pedal start, you're already on the gate with 2 feet on the pedals. It's definitely the fastest way to start, and most of the top BMX riders use it. The key to a good 2-pedal start is anticipating the gate properly. The way I do it is to centre my weight on the bike, then as the gate is just about to go, throw your weight out the gate. With speed jumping, you have to bear in mind that there are 7 other riders around you. As you come out of the gate and you're going flat out, look at the jump and know exactly where you're going to go over it. As you approach the jump, raise your front wheel slightly and aim to put it down just the other side of the jump, and keep pedaling right the way through. The best way to get into a turn depends on how you get out of the start gate. If you get out of the gate first, head straight for the inside and go as tight as you can, then ride up the berm and scoot out. Now, if you're not in front of the pack when you come out of the gate, ride to the outside of the turn as far as possible, Then scoot round straight to the inside of the turn, and then hopefully you'll overtake a few people as you come out. Once again, if you really want to get good at this, then keep at it. When it comes to whoop-de-doos, the technique is the same. But there is another way of doing it. As you approach the tabletop, raise your front wheel and place it on top. Keep pedaling, throw your weight back, use the downside of the tabletop to give you momentum to scoot out. And again, keep pedaling throughout, because when your wheels are in the air, you're losing speed. If the competition's as tough as you are, then the technique to use is called slingshotting the finish line. You throw your weight back, and then at the right moment, thrust yourself forward as if you was going out the start gate. Then hopefully that'll give you the extra couple of inches you need to win that race. And if you want to get to the heights of BMX, you've got to practice, practice, and practice. BMX freestyle evolved from skateboarding. It all happened when riders took their bikes to skate parks and started to develop their own tricks. Freestyle really gives meaning to your riding. It develops your coordination and is a very creative and satisfying form of self-expression.
In freestyle, body and bike become one, and it's all a question of finding a point of balance. Take a ramp stall, for example. For a 360, lock front brakes and arms, throw weight forward over handlebars, turn body slightly and let the momentum carry you around. Unlock arms, push weight to rear, and release brake. The tricks shown here by Andy are dangerous and are the result of many hours of patient practice. Don't expect to just get on a bike and crack them. It takes a lot of hard work and a lot of guts. Never attempt a trick without your protective gear, and always take things step by step, starting on flat ground and then building to ramp or quarter pipe work. For a pogo, lock your back brake and throw your weight back. Let your weight, not your arms, pull the front wheel up. Lighten your body like a spring to pull the rear wheel up, then pogo. Here's a tip. If you're right-footed, level your pedals, then move the right pedal down a couple of clicks on the flywheel. Vice versa if you're left-footed. To start a front pogo, move forward slightly, then lock the front brakes and your arms. Let the momentum carry you up. Find the point of balance, then start to pogo. Here's Andy getting air for an airing with tabletop. Dropping takes balance and guts.
simplicity is what BMX is all about. Whatever you're looking for, you'll find it in BMX. There really are no words to describe a sport like ours. The sport speaks for itself.
Right, and away they go. One guy had a bad start and who's made it to break there. He's Ruffell who's made the break clean. And that is a 16-year-old rider who's selected rider. That's true. I think it's second place. So we've got Andy Ruffell, we've got Thorn EMI, we've got bike number 6, and there's a rider down at 22. Matthew Kimber is finding the go in the back there. He's going to try and get up to his feet. The two Martin riders are going pretty well. And Ruffell's at a starter and Matthew Kimber right up behind him. And this is going to be neat riding. Kimber takes that one. Kimber out from the outside of the track. Kimber's going to go one. That's that when he's at Bill. He's at Bill. Ruffell. No, he doesn't. He's Bill. What is he? He's dominating this race. He's a cool rider, the Andy Ruffell. And when the tables up together, Matthew Kimber, one of his riders, gets in red and white, and there they go. Ruffell's with his foot down, closing the door. There he comes up now, the wind's playing like that, and jumping the rock. Give him there, that's Andy Ruffell, that's Matthew Kimber, and then it's Peter Costello who's going to take third place. Which is the winner of the open class, all the way from the UK, bike number 1, Andy Ruffell. Give him a big hand, he's there signing autographs, so come and give Andy a big hand. Rider has come out to altitude, completely different to the UK and to Dubai, and he's come out and he had a terrific race. Andy, thank you very, very much indeed.
The bike banged into my shin and it just major pain.